how survivable is this for the Prime Minister?
I don't think it's survivable. I think he's really effectively a dead man walking. He's no longer an effective Prime Minister or party leader. Whether that means physically he will stay in place is a different question. I think it's not clear who his successor will be. It's not clear what the mechanism of succession will be. There are many contenders, and it's actually quite difficult to displace a Labour Party leader. But as an effective Prime Minister and as an effective party leader, he no longer exists.
Right, and so it's about that then, and that's because it's not necessarily the specifics of this. It's about the fact that once again we have U-turns and admissions of having made bad judgments perhaps and apologising for things, and this is just one thing after another for the backbenches of the Labour Party.
Oh, it's more than just one thing after another. Look, Keir Starmer was never very good at his job. He's made lots and lots of mistakes. From the very beginning, he came in on a ticket of getting rid of sleaze and immediately accepted a large number of gifts with extraordinary and unforced error. But this is of a different league. It's failing properly to vet somebody for a job which it's very unusual to bring somebody from outside the Foreign Office and put them into a senior job like that. Very, very unusual at all. Something you'd only do under great consideration. Mandelson was already known to have various odd associations. He'd been sacked numerous times. So it was really a manoeuvre from the leadership of the Labour Party, which went dramatically wrong. It wasn't as though he was sort of in line for succession and they didn't properly vet him. They went out and sought him and put him in that job.
Yeah.
Adrian, this is a story that we've seen causing jitters on the markets this week as well. I mean, do markets need to be worried about what happens and whether Keir Starmer will be toppled from his job?
Absolutely. I mean, they need to be worried because we now have a Labour Party with seemingly a large majority but with no authority and with no direction and with no proper leadership. And we have two possible scenarios, both of which are bad for the markets. One is that he remains in place without any particular purpose and there's just a lot of rumbling and discontent. So you have a very unstable system in which you can't possibly tackle the big problems facing the country, which is levels of debt and things like that. Or you have a fairly prolonged leadership challenge and leadership race, which again destabilizes things. But either way, you have a government that can't deal with the big problems that confront the country. Now, I would say personally that his authority is so short and he's so bad at the job that it's better to grasp the nettle and get rid of him than it is just to dither along. But that's the decision that the Labour Party will make.
Yeah, and you think this fiasco, it's the end of a political era in the UK?
Personally, I think that we've had an era in British politics which has been dying for some time. And one reason we've had 6 prime ministers in a row sacked is a particular way of governing the country and a particular philosophy of liberal government has been dying. And that's the philosophy is that basically we should have a pro-free market and non-judgmental, permissive attitude towards morality. Those two things have been put together into what I describe in my column as a sort of bourgeois bohemian consensus, and that we have a sort of class of people who run the country, professional politicians, professional media people who've been running the country from their base in London. Okay. And we've seen a succession of revolts against that, of which Brexit was the biggest, but the Epstein affair is another manifestation. So it's not, I mean, Starmer was particularly bad at his job, particularly untalented as a politician, but we've had a lot of people who've been trying to adjust to this change in political regime and have failed to do so.